Hey guys, Nishquick here. So, I have a lot of Xenoblade videos in the works, and I'm very happy to say that, because honestly, it's been a very long time since I made a Xenoblade video, and I love talking about this series. Today's video is not going to be so happy and positive. I, again, want to get something off my chest. It is something that has been upsetting me for a very long time, and it is something that is also a little personal to me. Basically, I just want to talk about how hard it is for newcomers to get into the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Not only is it hard, but there are a lot of, I guess you could say, preconceived notions people have going into Xenoblade Chronicles. A lot of misinformation, a lot of opinions that have clouded their judgment about the series. I kind of want to address those today and maybe just talk about how I feel about some of this sentiment going around about the series. A lot of bad takes have been sprouting up here and there, so I want to kind of give my 2 cents on all that. If you guys enjoy talks like this, casual discussions, anything relating to Xenoblade Chronicles, Nintendo, JRPGs, hit the subscribe button. We're getting ever so close to 1,000 subscribers. Also, hit the like button because that lets me know that you enjoy content like this, and it helps me out a whole lot as a small content creator. Without further ado, let's talk about why it's so hard to get into Xenoblade Chronicles. Well, to answer that question, there's a lot of factors going into it. What makes Xenoblade Chronicles so unapproachable? Well, first of all, you look at the combat, and you're immediately frightened, you're immediately apprehensive, you're immediately overwhelmed. Numbers, icons, buttons, characters, names, attack animations, it's all just thrown out. It's like a JRPG fan just puked on your screen. That's kind of what I feel like a lot of non-Xenoblade fans see the combat as, and the gameplay as. And a lot of people just see this stuff and they say, oh, unapproachable, I can't do this. And then they hear people say, oh, Xenoblade 2 has very bad tutorials, I probably will never learn how to play the game ever. Well, I thought the same thing too. When I first saw Xenoblade 1, I was very overwhelmed, and I didn't know what to do with the game. I didn't know how to play the game. But guess what? The games have tutorials. The games tell you what to do. Xenoblade 2 aside, which has a very dreadfully bad tutorial, all the other games teach things in a very decent way. Xenoblade 1 has a very good tutorial where even the characters come out and have a little dialogue. Hey, Ryan, isn't it cool that you can tank enemy aggro, whereas I, Dunman, can avoid enemy aggro because I'm a dodge tank? Yeah, Dunman, that's pretty cool. I wish I could learn to be as fast as you. Like, those things are really cool. I love that. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has practice tutorials and very in-depth hand-holdy tutorials for the people who are confused and for the people who are new to the series. I very much appreciate, in hindsight, thank Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for doing that. Initially, when I first played 3, I was a little upset by that. It was a little intrusive, and for someone like me who was a veteran to the series, it was something that was really getting in the way. But now, I realize that it's so helpful to those people who have never touched a Xenoblade game. And the tutorials in 3 are very well written, very well explained, and they don't lie to you, and they're not very vague. But to those newcomers who still feel tutorials, too much reading, too much practice, too much all that, well, the thing is, there are many amazing, many helpful, many supportive content creators online. If it wasn't for these content creators, I wouldn't have really gotten into the series as much as I would have. If it wasn't for someone like NL, I wouldn't have understood the combat of Xenoblade 1. I would not have understood anything Xenoblade Chronicles 2 related. Xenoblade 2 is a very fantastic, very amazing combat system, and I really do want to shout out NL, because if it wasn't for NL, I wouldn't have understood all the complexities, all the amazing, mind-blowing things you can do in this game. And it's great. Even though the Xenoblade community can have its ups and downs, there are people who always have the fans' backs, and I really gotta shout it out to some people like NL and a whole bunch of other people. I'm gonna shout out my buddy Yggdrasil as well, because he has a lot of cool guides on Xenoblade combat, Xenoblade gameplay, Xenoblade lore. Go check out Yggdrasil's channel as well. And as you might have heard from what I've been saying, gameplay is good, combat's good. It's very good, it's very fun. Like I said, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, one of the greatest combat systems I've ever experienced. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is even better. And you know what's great about that? The tutorials are great. And yes, that's just the gameplay. Let's move on. Let's talk about the story and the characters. Yeah, it's funny how a lot of people from the outside looking in see Xenoblade as a very silly, very campy kind of game series. You take things out of context, you take situations, scenes, lines out of context, and you're like, what are these people saying? Why is the voice acting so bad? Why are the characters looking the way that they are? And you get hot takes like this, and you get videos like this, and it's weird. I think that's the biggest problem I'm having with new people getting into Xenoblade, because a lot of newcomers, a lot of people who don't know much about the series, see a lot of these takes, see a lot of these videos, and they are a little shocked and surprised that this is what Nintendo has made, this is the new premier JRPG series, is because they're seeing a lot of this out of context, and they really don't understand what's going into the whole thing with the Xenoblade. And it's weird. I find it so weird. This isn't a game like The Last of Us, this isn't a game like God of War or anything, this is an anime JRPG game. Another thing is a lot of the silliness, a lot of the weird kind of things that Xenoblade 2 does, I will say this right now, I think they're overinflated. And the thing is, having played the game for over 100 hours, a lot of these silly moments are, I would even say, like, less than 2% of the entire game. So hearing people constantly come back and complain and criticize and complain and say this game is bad because it does this and this and this, and just realizing all that stuff is a very small fraction and minority of the entire game experience, then I think, well, I would much rather you play the game and make your own opinion, or just don't play the game at all. Because this same game, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, is also the game that has moved many to tears because of the empowering, powerful, impactful messages that come from the game, the moving dialogue, the emotional storytelling, and of course I can tell you guys all what happens, why this is all impactful, why this is all emotional, why this is all amazing, but like I can only do so much. And the thing is, I just don't appreciate when people see a game, face value, pick out all the not so good things and sort of bad things about the game, overinflate it and say this is what this series is, this is what this game is, this is what Xenoblade is, without understanding, accepting, and even doing a slight, tiny bit of research into what any of this means. Xenoblade isn't a game about overly sexualized characters. It's not a game about overly inflated anime tropes. It's not a game about silly people talking in British accents. There's so much more to this game, and if people aren't willing to look into it, then I suggest just stop looking silly on the internet and stop sprouting silly opinions about the series that you may not understand because you have played, let's see, less than 1 hour of the game, or maybe even not completed the game. That's my whole thing. I've been hearing a lot of people say, why are so many reviews, why are so many opinions and so many takes online coming from people who have played less than half of a game, haven't even played a game, don't even know the game series that they're talking about. It kind of irks me, and it makes me kind of curious. What if I did this for something else? Let's give an example. Let's see. The Last of Us. The Last of Us is a game I've never played. I am ashamed to say that because many people have said The Last of Us is the pinnacle of video game storytelling. It is one of the best video games ever made because of its story, its characters, its interactions, all of it. Yes, I agree. I agree, but I haven't played the game. I can accept it. Maybe I won't agree, but maybe I can even go and do the same thing as Xenoblade Chronicles haters, I guess, are doing with The Last of Us. Will I? No, it's because I don't know anything about The Last of Us. The thing I don't like about The Last of Us is because it's just another zombie apocalypse thing, and it's whatever. I'm kind of sick of that trope, and I never really liked that trope to begin with. Maybe one day I'll play it, maybe one day I'll understand why it's so accepted, loved, and revered, but I'm in no position to say The Last of Us sucks because of yada da da, or The Last of Us 2 sucks because this character did this and that, because I haven't played the game. I don't know anything about The Last of Us. I haven't invested myself in these characters. So when people point out certain scenes of Xenoblade, of Rex doing something, of Rex angry or upset, and everyone's like, oh, look at this silly little kid, look at him whining about whatever, and I say, well, what do you know about Xenoblade? And of course, this is commonplace for every single video game series. Honestly, it's the same thing that happens with Zelda, it's the same thing that happens with Splatoon, it's the same thing that happens with Persona, or any JRPG for that matter. But I've noticed it happens a lot with Xenoblade, and I'm curious why. I want to be the one to ask that question. Why does Xenoblade come under fire so much? And here's the thing. There are people I have met, there are people I've talked to who have played through the entirety of certain Xenoblade Chronicles games and then have come back to me and said, hey Nishquick, I didn't like this game because of this. I 100% respect and love hearing those kinds of takes, because those takes are coming from people with experience. Those takes are coming from people who have at least given the game a shot. What about everyone else? What about all the other people saying, oh, Xenoblade sucks because I saw this one cutscene and it looks silly. Oh, Xenoblade sucks because the game looks like it's running at 480p. Oh, Xenoblade sucks because I can't learn the combat. I can't get behind the complexity of the gameplay. It's too much for me. I have learned to, of course, put those takes aside and realize and understand that they are pointless. But also, as a fan of this series, it would be amazing to get more people into the series, you know? And I just realized that with a lot of this negative sentiment, negative opinions of people just not knowing what's happening, what they're talking about and all that, it's kind of sad, because with this preconceived notion in their mind, they're most likely never going to play Xenoblade Chronicles. But if they knew what the game was, if they knew what was really in store for them, then maybe they might give it a shot. And of course, a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to play Xenoblade because of the fan base. Well, there's people like me. I'm like a cheerleader for all the Xenoblade games. But then there's people who are like the Xenoblade 2 fans, the Xenoblade 1 fans, the Xenoblade X fans, but honestly, who cares about the fan base? There are some games I just play just because I like them. And I don't really interact with the fan base because maybe I just don't care enough to, or maybe the fan base is a little bit too much and I don't want to associate with the fan base. So that's my thing. You can enjoy a game, but enjoy it for what it is and maybe understand it for what the game is about, instead of jumping to conclusions and seeing a take online or seeing a video by some giant content creator who makes everyone laugh and he says something about some character in a game or some line in some game, and then you're like, oh, he knows it, he knows the truth. If he's the one saying this, then I'm going to believe him. Maybe make your own opinion first, because you guys want to know something? I was one of those people. I hate to admit it. The thing is, I was one of those people. after I beat Xenoblade 1, I loved it so much that I was so scared to try Xenoblade 2 because I heard a lot of this negative sentiment. Anime game, silly game, overly sexualized characters, this, that, and the other, all this silly stuff. Field skills are bad, combat is bad, story is bad, dialogue is bad, voice acting is bad, and I was like, do I even want to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2? What is this game? Like, who made this game? Nintendo published this game? Everyone seems to hate it so much. But then I listened to some other people say how they really enjoyed it, what they loved about it, and I was like, hey, why don't I give it a shot? You know, I liked Xenoblade 1. This is still Tetsuya Takahashi. Let's see what it's all about. The rest was history. I ended the game with tears in my eyes because of how much the journey meant to me and how much I enjoyed it for what it was. The game wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Same with Xenoblade 3. Xenoblade 3 was super anticipated. I loved it so much. I still love it to this day. And the game wasn't perfect. The game wasn't perfect. And like, it's been almost a year since the game has come out. I agree. Game wasn't really perfect, but to me, it was everything I wanted it to be. And I played it from beginning to end, and I had so many amazing conversations with friends, content creators, and just so many people about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The conversations that I just didn't enjoy having were with people who were judging the game for what it was not, and with people who were jumping to conclusions about why Xenoblade Chronicles isn't good, isn't popular, and shouldn't be as recognized and revered and remembered. And it's weird. I don't know if this is a thing with like newer JRPG series. I don't know how this was like. I know some of my followers and subscribers are a little bit older than I am, so if you guys are watching this far in, let me know how it was like with other JRPG series back in the day. Was it very hotly contested? And honestly, like, this isn't, like, it's whatever, honestly. The games will exist, life will go on, things will be okay. But it's just a little sad. I wish I could get more people into Xenoblade. I wish I could. My track record with this isn't very good, and I don't know why. I mean, of course, there are preconceived notions online. There's people landing on opinions without playing the game, but also, yeah, it is a little complex. It didn't really hit me until kind of recently how much of a commitment a Xenoblade game is with gameplay, story, characters, lore, themes, all that. That's not even to mention the music. And yeah, I don't know. I really at least hope with some of the Xenoblade Chronicles videos that I've made on the channel, I at least hope that maybe some of you guys gave this series a shot. Maybe some of you guys said, hey, this fantasy world looks amazing, these characters look great, the story looks amazing, maybe I should give it a shot for myself. If that's one of you guys, I really appreciate it, and I would love to hear what you think about this series because it really means a lot to me, and it's just unfortunate seeing people jump to conclusions like this and kind of invalidate Xenoblade's success and its true worth and true legacy in modern Japanese video games and role-playing games. So I don't know, I'm kind of screaming at the clouds here at the end of this video, so I'm gonna cut it off here. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Xenoblade is hard to get into? Why do you think Xenoblade is hard to get into? Were you one of the people who had preconceived, like, already set opinions about Xenoblade before playing it? Are you one of those people now? Have you not even played Xenoblade, and do you have these opinions? Let me know in the comments below. Let's be respectful. Let's chat about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, this is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day, and go play some great games today. Like all 3 Xenoblade Chronicles games on the Nintendo Switch, as well as their expansions and their DLCs and epilogues and everything. It's all here on the Nintendo Switch. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquick. Thank you so much for watching that video, and if you enjoyed it, check out these 2 videos on the left, and if you aren't subscribed, why not hit that subscribe button on the way out? I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day and see you later.